All right, boys and girls. Today is October 1st, Tuesday, October 1st, my first live trading day. And I have a missed trade. Missed trade. Everything was going well, until I got distracted. I got pulled away for my real job and I ended up missing a trade that I was looking at. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. And it just shows that my bias was correct. And I actually I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased with it. Target would have been smashed also, which you all can see there. Um, so yeah, let's actually get into it for a second. So Monday. What do we have here, right? Tuesday gives us a PDH. We sweep Monday's high. From that point, I'm like, all right, cool, we're bearish, right? So where is it that I can look to target? Um, and I'm looking down in these areas, but ultimately even lower. Will probably come all the way down into these equal lows in here. Um, Long term for the week, that's kind of what I'm expecting for the week for us to come into these equal lows, and then maybe to look to push higher. Now, something really interesting that also happened on the weekly, is we swept these equal highs in here, right? Swept these equal highs in here, failed to close above, came into the FVG, the only FVG in this bearish leg. So now we're almost in a range, right? In a weekly range where we have this high here, technically our weekly range, and we also have, whoops. There we go. And we're also technically in this. So this is our weekly range, right? So we have a lot of room in here to play short term or medium term, maybe for the next 2-ish weeks before we really get an idea of where price wants to go. But as I said on the daily, our first area of weekly liquidity is going to be probably in here, these lows. But for the day, I really just wanted to look for in here. Now, let's go down to the lower time frames. Well, medium time frames first. So this is where I started getting a little bit interested. Uh, and I was thinking originally maybe we want to come up a little bit higher, take out these highs again, but that didn't make sense, right? Because this was what took our previous daily high. Now, this was at 9:30 a.m. Sorry, 9:30 p.m. in here where this happened. So I thought maybe we would want to take Asian highs to potentially go lower. That didn't happen. So I have to adjust, right? My rules is I don't trade before 9:45. I let price do what it needs to do. With 9:30 open, 8:30 open, and then 9:30 open, and then figure out where price wants to go from there. So if we cut down to a 15 minute, this is what I was seeing, right? Equal highs in here, equal highs get taken. My issue with this is that this is a 6:45, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. candles, right? To me, that doesn't make sense. That's not where I like to see my manipulations happen. I like my manipulations to happen at 8:30 and 9:30. But I do have to take into account that this is the manipulation. Not to mention that we did take PDH during Asia session. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, all right, cool. If that's the case, we should be going lower. And because of my bias of not trading, not bias, my rules of not trading before 9:45, I see here at 9:30, we get this massive bearish candle. So 9:30, I'm like, oh wow, we are trucking going down. The only thing that could ever make me want to go bullish is if it is that we came in here, we swept this low, and then we got a major form of reversal pattern, which obviously didn't happen. And especially with this PDH, that doesn't make any type of sense. So I was thinking, all right, cool. How can I get on side with this? We have a falling knife. There's no point trying to look against the falling knife. Let's try and see if we can find something um, for a bearish continuation. So we go down to the 5 minute. 5 minute, we have this here at 10 o'clock pretty much. So we have Jolts. Jolts comes out 10 o'clock. And PMIs, I think, also is the other thing that comes out at 10 o'clock. So I'm like, all right, cool. This now comes into an FVG. This may give us a reason to be on side to go short. So I have to find where is my manipulation that suggests to me that we can go potentially short from here. So on the 1 minute, this is what I see. We have our ISP that put in this new low. Jolts comes up, sweeps that ISP, creating a new type 1. From there, I'm like, all right, cool. Now we're going bearish. How can I enter this trade going bearish? And we have here this inverse FEG where price comes in, comes down, reacts to it. If it is that we want to go bullish from here, which I'm not expecting, we're going to push higher and ultimately close above this new type 1 FEG that was formed. We don't do that, but we do get a reaction. And what I find from these inverse FEGs, especially if we get a reaction, they are extremely strong. And price will tend to, if price rips through it, then we tend to shoot short, very aggressively also. So what happens? Price comes in, we shoot short, and I'm now starting to get back. So I have this in here. I get called at 10:02, so on this candle, to come to my office to do a couple things, and we push short. We react to the FEG. We push higher. We fail to close above the inverse. Then we come back, and I get back on this candle here, and I'm like, no way did that just happen. So yeah, this is a missed opportunity, a missed trade. I wasn't going to take it unless we close below. The closes are very, very important. So this is how I would have kind of set up the trade like this. No, 174. Yep, that's right. And my target was was slightly below this low at the so how I did it was I had this as my high, I had this as my manipulation range slightly below, as you can see, the 2 standard deviations, and that was my trade idea, right? So I would have hopped in right here, 1.92. That would have been the trade. And unfortunately, it's a mistrade. But I can't be upset because my bias was correct. Bias was correct. Everything was correct except that entry. And because I got pulled away from the chart, unfortunately, couldn't take it. Now something else I was looking at for a higher time frame, well, not higher, but on the 5 minute, was actually where is this manipulation, right? Where's the actual manipulation? And I'm seeing this kind of like this here now, like that. But this is the last push up before we push lower. So price may want to come down here, which is in conjunction with, actually, let me make this a little bit larger, drag that across, is in conjunction with this point right here, which is essentially the last type 1, or let me change that, the type 1 that created our last bullish push. Oops, so let me put that in there. This is kind of where I'm expecting price to ultimately come for today. And as you can see, we're very close, very close. So I think price will kind of roll over into this point, and then that'll be it for the day. But unfortunately, couldn't get it. Couldn't get the trade today. So 1.9R kind of missed today. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. And on to tomorrow, where I would expect price to continue lower. Um, Ultimately into where I was talking about for the daily targets, which is pretty much down here, where we probably look to push lower into down here. There's nothing really stopping us until we get down here. So yeah, that is my trade recap. And let's end